Good morning, class. Good morning? Good afternoon? Whenever this video finds you, good whatever that is. Mr. Dustin here. We are working on our animals this week, so I printed off a few little printouts. There's a little pug with a sweater. I only had access to a black and white printer, so that's what we get. We got a fox here. We'll come back to him. And have a deer here. And basically we're just using these print-offs as references. You can, if you want, use them to trace or sketch out your painting. But today, the first thing we did was a technique called staining the canvas. I'll show you what one of my students has done. He's got it on the ground here, so I'm gonna have to kneel down. We got a sea turtle, and he has stained his canvas so that if he were to not quite paint the whole canvas with the background color, it really doesn't matter because the canvas has been covered first with some type of color. But we use that time when we're staining the canvas, we use that time to kind of pre-plan and sketch out. You could see he had kind of scratched into it a little bit to pre-sketch the drawing. I'll show you the one that I started working on. Remember the fox here. So, let's see. I can get him in there. So this is the fox getting started. I first put in all of that kind of rusty brown red color. That's kind of the pre-sketch. It's just kind of sketching it out in paint. If you look really closely, there's some details starting to happen there in the face. Those are just me trying to figure out the shapes and the color, or shapes and the values. Some parts are lighter than others, some parts are darker than others. Those are just kind of visual notes for me to, when I go back in, like I have started with the white and the gray, I can start, I know where the dark places and where the light places are going to be. So I have that reference on my phone. I have the color version of it. I found all of these pictures, by the way, on a website called unsplash.com, unsplash.com. And the cool thing about Unsplash, parents, don't let them go on there by themselves. I don't know what your feelings are about everything that they might see there. But on unsplash.com, basically the idea is that there is a lot of photography that is free to use, meaning that there is no copyright on any of these. So even if your kids were serious about selling a piece, maybe a family member wanted to buy one, you don't actually have to worry about copyright infringement. So all those are royalty-free pictures that you can use. That's where I got all of these. And on ThinkWave, I might post these pictures in color on ThinkWave as attachments. So you can go view that on the animal portrait thing over on ThinkWave. So again, as you can see on mine, just trying to get that rough sketch by staining the canvas, and then I started working in some of the color. It's not even nearly finished. And some of these that the kids have started, and they're kind of in the same stage. It's not quite finished yet. They are to work on that over the week. If the kids did not take theirs home, then they won't be able, obviously, to work on it at home unless they start it again. It is an 11 by 14 acrylic painting in which we stain the canvas first, and then while staining we can kind of like work the details in. You can wipe off wet paint. That's what happened like in the space inside of his ear and around his ear in the background. That is what I have done. I wiped the wet paint back off. Where the darker, like right there on his cheek, down there below, is like on the fluff around his cheek, you will notice that the accumulated paint is there. So that makes the color look darker. So you can kind of create shading in that way. And once you have that done, you can start adding the color in. You should cover up most, if not all, of that rusty color. It's just what we call the underpainting. So once you get that done, at least the underpainting done, probably within the next day or so, and then I would immediately start working on getting your colors in there after you've sketched your underpainting out. Remember, it's 11 by 14. We are working with the staining the canvas first, and then doing a portrait of your favorite animal. Next week will be landscapes. So here's my suggestion. Find a picture of a landscape piece of art, the style of art that you like, and then pick a picture that you would like to make. So an actual photograph of a landscape. And then try to use the reference of somebody else's artwork as the style, but the photo is what you'll actually be making. So you'll have two things. You'll have a piece of artwork that is a picture reference off the internet of a landscape style that you like. And then you'll have a place that you would like to make. And then let's do this. Everybody knows Vincent van Gogh. So if you take Vincent van Gogh, Starry, Starry Night, you say, okay, I like this painting. Vincent van Gogh, Starry, Starry Night. Okay, so you like that style. Now we're gonna do that style, but you got your house at nighttime. Your house. So take a picture of your house and do your house in Vincent van Gogh's style. Now you don't have to do that, but that's just an example of finding a style, finding a reference, and blending the two together. That is going to be what we're doing next week in class and for homework. So what I would suggest is do your animal this week, but do some sketches and maybe bring some references of your landscape to class next week. And then next week in class, we'll take your thumbnails, we'll take your references, and we'll get started immediately on your landscape painting. All right, I hope this video finds you well, and I will see you next week. Later.